one of the building blocks effort, right? And as far as I can understand it, there's two parts to effort, which I personally think of as either work or exertion in the way I kind of make a formula out of it. So there's consistency of effort, and then there's what you were just talking about, which is quality of effort, and that's directed practice, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Deliberate practice is
deliberate practice. So explain, I love the back and forth that you had about improving your running. Maybe you could explain about what deliberate practice is in context of a story, or just explain it kind of broadly for people.
Yeah, for a long time, and I will say that this is maybe more when I was a younger woman, I was running every day. So that I had, total consistency. I mean, I ran, I would run the same route in my neighborhood, and I would, leave the house, and I could set the clock by the time I came back, because it was always the same amount of time, but there was remarkable consistency. But I wasn't doing deliberate practice. And the reason I wasn't doing deliberate practice, and I discovered this by talking to the guru of deliberate practice, Anders Ericsson, who informed me that I wasn't doing deliberate practice. When I described to him leaving the house at the same time every day and coming back at the exact same time, and I was complaining to him, really whining that I wasn't getting any better. And so how could practice be such a great thing? Because I'm no faster than I ever was, just by my many miles of running practice. He started asking me questions about, whether I had a goal. Like when I left the house, did I have a specific aspect of my run that I was working on? My pace, my form, the way I moved my arms, my breathing, my time, how I was going to take the hills. Like literally, I had no goals. I just left the house and, put on my earbuds and came back in. He was like, okay, you have no goals. And then he would ask me about feedback, about whether I was getting any feedback on, any of these things that a runner would possibly care about, pacing, form, et cetera. No, I didn't get any feedback either. Of course I didn't. I didn't have any goals. Why would I need any feedback? And then finally, I think he would ask me, a little bit about, over the years, I got to work with Anders Ericsson, this scientist, very intimately, about focus and attention, and about whether I was really focused on what I was doing, or in fact, as I was describing to him, like listening to podcasts and music. And when he discovered that I had no goals, no feedback, and that my attention was divided, he said I couldn't have been doing deliberate practice, and that may be the reason why I was seeing zero improvement. So consistency, going up for a run 5, 6, 7 days a week is one thing, but deliberate practice is about quality of practice. And you really need both if you want to be, in this case, a better runner. And I told him I didn't want to be a better runner, and I didn't care. And he said, fine. I mean, you don't have to care about running, but you shouldn't expect to improve in your running unless you're doing the kind of practice that leads to improvement.
That's that story inspired me. My son is 9. He's a soccer player. And he's like, Dad, we're chipping today. And I was like, okay, great. And we just were out doing whatever, kicking around, right? And I realized that we were not, like he was intending to improve, but we were not doing deliberate practice. So I got a box and I said, all right, we're going to chip as many times as it takes, and we're going to count until you get it into the box with your right foot. And it took him 34 times. And then I was like, all right, great. Now let's do the left foot. And 34, 50, 60. He's like, Dad, I can't. I'm like, you know how Ronaldo learned how to do this? He's like, no. He's like, by doing this. He's like, 107 times. 107 times he got into the box. And now he thinks about practice in that way. He's like, Dad, let's go get the box. So it's a bit, I mean, that's a really big, I thought it was important. And when I heard that you tell that story, immediately I put it into practice.
I mean, it's brilliant, right? I mean, it's not my idea. That's why I can say it's brilliant. I mean, and it is actually, I think the difference between this kind of like mindless going through the motions. I mean, think about all the kids in America right now playing piano, like setting the alarm for like 30 minutes of practice, but without an intention, without a very specific goal, like like this is what success looks like. This is why I'm practicing. It's wasted time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame, actually, considering that there's a desire.